Hi, I'm Jen Givon with my poem. My mom's been asking for a happy poem all my life. So I fight all my destructive urges to give her one. A tiny globe filled with first snow I'm determined not to shatter across blacktop. Once, in the parking lot of Home Depot, we got into the blue van and everything felt off, uncanny. A fast food wrapper from a place we hadn't eaten, the dashboard dustier than it should have been. It took us a full 30 seconds, Mom in the driver's seat, though she hadn't driven in years, me in the passenger, her ride or die since I was a little girl and one of her only friends in our strange and tiny border town. Before we realized, this isn't our van. And we scrambled out, laughing our heads off and terrified the owner had called the cops on the women who look like twins, carjacking them. We laugh about it every time we're in a parking lot. That wasn't our only Lucy and Ethel moment. There was the time we ordered what we thought was a roll from the drive-thru at Panera Bread, thinking we'd share it to split the calories. But when the server handed it to us, the long, thin bread kept coming through the window. Mom and I thought baguette meant roll. It sounded petite. And although this poem's only point is to make Mom happy, it's also to heal something in myself I hadn't known needed a balm until the words hit the page. The way moms know. The way mine sent me flowers when the love of my young life got another girl pregnant and left me heartbroken and without a prom date. Or when Mom gave me a gold nutcracker pin after the ballet recital, when all the other girls got flowers and I shoved the beautiful pin back at her because it wasn't flowers. And she said, "Flowers wilt. I wanted to get you something that would last forever," like her love. A poem can be sentimental because poems are filled with life. But sometimes we need to look our moms in the eyes and apologize or say thank you. Our moms remind us what it felt like when we were safe in their arms, even if our moms weren't safe, even if they were only holding it together for us, to give us a happiness they'd created from thin air. Motherhood is made of that magic. I'm crying now. Mom, I promise, they're happy tears. About this poem. Throughout my childhood, although often tumultuous and painful, my mom would put on classic musicals, and my older brother, Mom, and I would sing along. My little brother was a baby. My mom attends most of my poetry readings, especially the virtual ones, and has asked me again and again to record our joy. This poem has been a lifetime coming. Writing is one of our greatest survival tools, but I sometimes forget that survival also means reminding ourselves what we live for. I get so busy living the joy, I forget to record it. This poem is that reminder.
Still trying to get my hair like my grandson's. This show is about Bruce Springsteen. About a year ago, I was interviewing this new band, Kareeta, about their first album that had just come out. And with this great discussion, we kept going back to their roots and a lot about Bruce Springsteen. And then the video, the Zoom call quit. And when we got back on, we just ended up talking about these seminal albums, Darkness on the Edge of Town, Nebraska, The River. This is really about the second part of our interview where Jon and Chuck bear their roots. Then I was thinking, what other parts of this complex person as Bruce Springsteen has played up, bubbled up through our music of other people I'm connected with. And so we have Torches and Pitchforks, Cracker song with David Lowery plays and opening up a show in Pittsburgh. It's a great call to arms song. And Johnny has a live performance of Summertown. He's just playing on acoustic guitar and harmonica, and it just has that spirit, that kind of roaming spirit of a Springsteen song. And then I have our own dangerous song, Believe in Something, that goes way back to Woody Guthrie in a way, filtered through Dylan, and kind of Smokey Robinson too. Enjoy this tribute to Bruce Springsteen from all of us.
Hello, everybody. Really great to see all you all again.
Good to see you.
So happy to see
Welcome
you.
back to Philly.
Welcome back. Woo!
We will fight you from the mountains, and we will fight you in the streets, and we will fight you in the valleys. You cannot take what isn't yours, and we will fight your goons and lawyers, and we will fight your Pinkertons, and we will fight your bought-off congressman. You cannot take what isn't yours. So
Sounds just like
and we will take you from your mansions, we'll burn your towers to the ground, and you will reap the whirlwind that you sow. You cannot take what isn't yours. So la da 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 la 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 da 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 da. Yes, we will fight you from our houses, and we will fight you in the streets, and we will fight you in the valley. You cannot take what isn't yours. No, you can't take what isn't yours.
Talk more about that, John, because there is, you're starting from a certain kind of part of the country.
Yeah.
Then you're ending up stretch the west and Union Station, and you're like you guys did. You're kind of moving out west, and the album has a similar trajectory.
That's right.
So, but yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a characters. It's definitely a traveling sort of a record of moving from the South to the West Coast, and
Yeah.
and tapping into all those feelings. And again, like something that John knows well. Moving out here himself. The rest of the guys are local guys from Southern California, but both Aaron and Brian are big country music fans, and like we all had a good starting point musically with all the different things that we love. John's a big Rolling Stones fan. Of course, I love country music and early traditional country music from the 60s and 70s. It just keeps coming back to that. We just kind of threw all that into a big pot and got stuck in a house with it. It comes through in the way we sound.
My daddy broke his back for a farmer's pay. When a man ain't worn a collared shirt in damn near 15 years, he ain't headed for the hills
It's a little bit like when we were talking earlier, when we were talking about Nebraska, is that, you know, here's Springsteen. He's already famous and has this very evolved sound in the East Street Band and saxophone, and he had this certain thing, but he really discovers himself. It might be Darkness at the Edge of Town, but certainly in Nebraska, where he found out this other storytelling part of his soul.
Yeah, I grew up in Pennsylvania, and Springsteen was kind of a fabric of the rock upbringing, you know, with what you listen to and what people know from around there. My uncle went to see Bruce Springsteen at the Main Point, which was like a bar, you know, right before he got big and all this stuff, and you know, went in a blizzard. And actually, my friend with Nebraska, you know, the song Atlantic City.
Yeah.
They blew up the Chicken Man in Philly last night, which is a mobster in South Philly. A friend I grew up with, his grandmother lived in the same street as the Chicken Man and remembers when it got blown up.
Well, it was midnight. The joint was funky and groovy. Hey, I was in line. Yeah, but not really moving. So I said, hey girl, ain't you got something to show? Hey, I can keep up. I swear this DJ can throw. Yeah, they know. If these tracks don't hold, tell my mom. If these tracks don't hold, tell my pa. If these tracks don't hold, tell my sis. If these tracks don't hold, I show them all.
storyline of what this album, Kareeta album, and the music that comes out of it is all the influences that we were. I mean, everybody's got influences, but it was a concentrated, in a very concentrated period. We like were just going through all these kind of albums and documentaries and stuff.
Yeah.
The Promise was another one, and Wings for Wheels, the two Springsteen Born to Run and Darkness on the Edge of Town documentaries were pretty formative too, like with absorbing how to write that way, and me like not copying them, but like, you know, Darkness of the Edge, Born to Run was a big album. It was like a big epic album, and he's like, he wanted Darkness of the Edge of Town to be like more stripped back and raw.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, like, and same with Nebraska, like kind of tapping into that is interesting.
What do you think, Chuck? Is it because you mentioned this album earlier on about how that flows for you?
Yeah. Oh man. Wow. This is So I think it was in the Promise, the documentary on the making of that record, that he talked a lot about. He had those big records, you know, and those hits, and struggling with being a songwriter, and the very things that made him what he was, and where he, you know, the experiences and the pain, everything that he drew from those early songs. What do you do when you're separated from that? Because all your wildest dreams have come true, and like you know, how do you continue doing that sort of thing and be authentic to yourself when, you know, you're separated from the things that made you? And like, I think he said that was sort of what they were trying to go for in that record. And I mean, it's got so many great songs on it. The title track is maybe, I know I said Nebraska is my favorite Bruce record earlier, but I don't know that I could pick a better song that has influenced me more in songwriting ways than that song. And what's that?
Darkness.
Yeah, Darkness on the Edge of Town. And we have, John has the a box set. It is called The Promise, right? It's all this is a lot of outtakes. It's another like 2 albums worth of stuff that is sort of like that. Some of it came out later. He
came into the sessions with 60 or 70 songs.
Yeah, came into those sessions with 60 songs, and they got, all the guys wrote down sort of like a bet going on that what 10 they thought that they were going to actually end up recording, and nobody got them right. Like, you know, everybody missed. But that's just how hard he was on himself in that process of writing that record. And I mean, that was done when he wasn't able to. He was fighting a lawsuit and having fallen out with one of his best friends, and he wasn't able to, you know, he wasn't able to do much else but get in there and bang those songs out. And I love that record. I love the sound of it. I love the packaging of it and the photos inside. And
Absolutely.
Just amazing.
Just the color of this stuff here. I remember just holding this album and looking at not just because of Bruce. I was just looking at the rock and roll feel of that color.
If you're ever uninspired, I'll just put on a live Bruce performance concert, and he'll whip you into shape. He's such an amazing up there, and band leader. He's like an evangelist of some sort up there. But just another thing that John and I sort of went really deep on during the lockdown and stuff. We really listened to a lot of Bruce Springsteen and did a lot of reading. His music is right up there with Neil Young's most influential to me. I know, and I think it comes through in the way we sound.
My daddy broke his back for a farmer's pay. When a man ain't worn a collared shirt in damn near 15 years, he ain't headed for the hills the first loud poppy years. So Mr. Tonight, remember I was raised up in that dirt where we
Kareeta? Tell me where that comes from.
So Kareeta is so in the 40s, before the Roswell UFO incident, there was a mass sighting of a bat-winged ship in the sky over San Diego, and one of the local mediums in the paper, it was in the paper. It was a big write-up in the paper. We have the articles posted. Clips posted on our Instagram page. But this book, The Visionary State, there's a story about that in there, and some of the clippings are in there. And the medium spoke to the inhabitants of the ship, and they said that they told them that they were a representatives of a highly advanced, peaceful race, and that their ship was an anti-gravity machine, and they call it a Kareeta. But we would know of it. We would think of it as an anti-gravity machine, but that their term for it was a Kareeta. And I was like, that's a really cool word.
It's a great word.
Nobody will know what this means. They're never gonna,
Well,
yes, very peaceful Southern California story, folklore. It's important to us with this project with Kareeta that we kind of made, like, we're like, again, the whole thing was like a kind of a gift for the pandemic,
right?
And so as we got songs rolling, and then we're recording with Greg, and it's coming out well, and we're getting wow, something here, wow. It became important to us, like whatever the art is around the music is very important. That it needs to complement it very well. The vibe needs to be complemented. Not everybody does that, but the bands you love definitely do that.
No, yeah.
And West Freed is a wonderful example, and our Crumb.
You can't think of the drive, like every song, Drive By Trucker song I listen to, I think of it is in terms of like how Wes Freed would interpret it. Like I see all those scenes and all those characters, and I know exactly how Wes Freed would draw them. He's such a part of that.
Andy Warhol, was instrumental. It was Let It Bleed, like the album cover and stuff. And
for sure.
All the great album covers, but it's all more than that. It's the T-shirts and it's the posters, and like we want it to be like, hey, like this is a band that these guys are doing it. There's nothing wrong with a good band photo or something, but you need them for press and things like that. But instead of like kind of leaning on that, it's like, let's lean on the songs and like the visual complementary aspect of the songs. Yes. The music, like evoke the music. Just keep up with the band at Kareeta.com, Kareeta.com. All videos, shows, the album's up there. You can check out the album, listen to it, stream it, buy a shirt, whatever. Keep up with the band.
Again, thanks, John. Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. We appreciate it, man.
Oh, it was a great conversation. I'd like to set something up just to talk about more albums, because you get
Well, let's do that. Let's set up anytime you want to talk about music. I'll get a record. You get a record. John get a record.
That's what I'm thinking, is that we'll do the record challenge.
All-night train from Guadalupe. I'll go lean away someday. I could pay my respects to
still see her lying on that cool green lawn, drinking a Coke with sunglasses on, like a scene from a movie that he watched with his dad. Made him wish he was as handsome as old Alan Ladd. Weekend nights became an everyday thing. She made him restless and bought her a ring. That poor little fool thought it would stay the same, but she went back home when the cold winds came. From the old town hall to the boarded up store on the streets that run to the shore. Well, people said, son, don't let it in. town. He wrote her letters one time she called. She felt about as distant as the Taj Mahal. He lost his job the very next day, too distracted by something he wouldn't say. From the old town hall to the boarded up store on the street, to run to the shore. The people said, son, don't let it get you down. There's nothing you can do, it's a summer town. Watch TV, situation comedies and documentaries. They don't see a boy sitting high on a hill, drinking a toast to the November chill. From the old town hall to the boarded up store on the streets, to run to the shore. Well, people said, son, don't let it get you down. There's nothing you can do, it's a summer town. There's nothing you can do, it's a summer town. There's nothing you can do, it's a summer town.
When we started out far from home, out in the mean streets like a child used to roam. Gaze through the windows, I could see us in the glass. Colors, so many colors, colors meant to last. And I believe in something, I believe in something. We got love for one thing. Down for the count. Ask me where you're going, as a sermon on the mount. They look just like you in spirit, hollowed out. We dream the same dreams that we got lost in the crowd.